Bienvenue à Repousser les limites. Mon nom est Jeff Dussault. Ça me fait plaisir de vous accueillir à mon podcast de course en sentier d'endurance. Bonne écoute. Bienvenue à Repousser les limites. Bienvenue au 30e épisode, le dernier de la saison 1. C'est un épisode spécial. C'est un épisode en anglais. J'ai eu la chance de recevoir une grande athlète australienne qui court pour Salomon, qui est très populaire dans le monde du trail running. Je lui ai écrit, à ma grande surprise, elle m'a dit « Ben oui, ça va me faire plaisir de faire ton podcast. » J'en étais bouche bée, pour vrai. Donc, j'ai eu la chance de recevoir Lucy Bartholomew. C'est une jeune athlète de Salomon. Elle a 25 ans, 26, je crois, au moment qu'on se parle. Puis, cet épisode-là, je l'ai tourné en septembre. Pourquoi je ne l'ai pas sorti quand je l'ai tourné? Dans ce temps-là, je pensais sortir une deuxième série de podcasts en anglais, chose que je n'ai pas faite puisque je manquais de temps un peu. L'idée était bonne, mais je me suis rendu compte que ça ne fonctionnera pas, c'est trop en même temps. Puis, je veux continuer à grandir ma communauté de podcasts aussi en français. Donc, le projet est sur la glace pour possiblement plus tard à suivre. Donc, je me suis dit, cet épisode-là, je vais sortir comme bonus en fin de la saison. Donc, voilà. Donc, on a eu des problèmes un petit peu avec la connexion, puisqu'on avait 12 heures de décalage. Donc, vous allez voir, ça lag, ça bug certains moments. Donc, j'ai dû faire beaucoup de montage sur cet épisode-là pour essayer d'aller chercher l'essentiel. Donc, des fois aussi, vous allez voir qu'il y a comme du délai entre les réponses de l'un et de l'autre. C'est parce qu'il y avait comme vraiment un réel délai d'interférence, là, comme une demi-seconde. Fait que c'est pour ça que ça manque de fluidité un peu l'épisode. Donc, c'est pour ça d'ailleurs que c'est un épisode bonus. Voilà. Donc, merci beaucoup à tous ceux qui ont suivi, qui ont partagé mon podcast. Je vais revenir encore plus solide dans mon studio prochainement. Donc, merci beaucoup. Puis, je vous souhaite un bon entraînement cet hiver et un excellent épisode. Merci beaucoup.
Hi, my name is Lucy Bartholomew, and I'm super excited to be on the podcast Repel the Limit with Jeff Dussault as he prepares for his first 100-mile event. And I'm super excited to talk all things 100 miles and training.
Welcome to Repel the Limit. For this week, my guest is a well-known athlete from Australia. She ran a lot of long-distance races. She prepared herself for her first Ironman this year. She's an elite athlete from Salomon. So thank you so much, Lucy, and welcome Lucy Bartholomew on my podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's awesome to connect all around the world.
Yeah. Mostly with what happened in the last year, and thank you so much. I'm very grateful. So, what brings you in trail running and just running at all?
Yeah, so I started into running through my dad. He used to do a lot of road marathons, and then he started to transition more to trails. And when he started to do trails, I was about 14 years old, and I just watched him go to all these cool places and eat a lot of food and run around and walk and go to these amazing places of nature. And so I was just really interested and intrigued, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I started to join him on these runs. And I didn't even, it wasn't even about the running. I was there for more of the adventure and the food and just time with my dad. And yeah, it just kind of became second nature to me to run around and for long all day. It was never about time or kilometers. It was more about just connection with him and with nature and then with myself.
That's very nice. Cool. So your first races was on road or trail running?
No, my first races were on trail. I did my first 100 kilometers when I was 15 years old. And initially, all I wanted to do was the road marathon. But when here in Australia, the minimum limit of age is 18 for road, and they're super, super strict. Whereas for trail running, which is so crazy, I was able to do 100 kilometers. I was like, if I do the marathon and I get tired, I can take a taxi and I'm safe. In the 100 kilometers, if I get tired, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's very crazy. And I know in Australia, like it's crazy with the snakes. And because I was a tree planter before start trail running. And
awesome.
And back in the days, I was looking to go plant trees in Australia. And I'm kind of scared of those snakes, those spiders.
They say everything wants to kill you here, but it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, one day I'm gonna visit Australia for sure. So who did the first person inspire you to start running was your dad?
Correct.
And did you have another inspiration at the moment, like an athlete or?
I would say my first inspiration from an athlete, because before I even knew this was a sport, I was seeing my dad do it, and I was seeing a mass of people of all different shapes and sizes, and I just thought everyone was the same and everyone was just incredible. But the first athlete I remember being like, wow, Emily Forsberg. And I remember she was my phone background, and I just thought she was the most amazing human being and someone who I just aspired to be like and to one day meet. And I remember meeting her the first time and just being, I don't follow bands or anything, but I was so nervous to see her and talk to her because, yeah, she was a huge inspiration for me.
That's crazy because you run for Salomon now.
Yeah, it's super, super nice.
If you were not a professional athlete, do you know what job you would do instead of running or trail running?
I think I would do something in the world of nutrition and along in the food world. I have a big passion for nutrition, and especially like I follow a plant-based diet. And so I would probably want to educate myself more on that.
Nice. Yes, I am kind of base plant athlete too, but vegetarian. Sometimes I do fish rarely.
Nice.
So, okay. And at what point you realize in your career that you will become a professional athlete?
I think I still don't believe that that's what I am. I've just kind of take everything day by day. My dad says that I'm a leaf in the wind, and I just kind of float around and happy to do races and have fun. But when you say you're a professional athlete, it gives a lot of expectation and a lot of pressure. And so, I'm very grateful that being an athlete is part of who I am, and it's enabled me to do so much cool stuff and go to great places. But yeah, it's still just like my hobby when I was 14 years old, and something that only gives me joy.
That's very nice because I think it's super important to do something we love in life. So,
Totally.
and I hear you in an interview said that you usually fasting for running in the morning, but do you do a special diet or only on your morning run?
Yeah, this is kind of something that I'm actually changing. I for 10 years now, so I'm enjoying the sport when I was 14, 15, and I'm 25 now. And I
Yeah.
used to never eat before I ran,
Okay.
mainly because I didn't want to have to get up early, and I never really feel hungry when I wake up. So I thought I was being like, I'm more intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
But I recently realized that I think you've kind of got to force it for a little bit for then it to become your routine. And it's meant that I have been able to sustain the training a lot better. And also the cortisol, so your stress hormone, isn't as elevated if you eat before exercise, especially for a female, which is kind of new science and something I didn't know, but I found it super interesting, and now I make some changes.
Okay. So, what is your favorite thing to eat in the morning as a breakfast for race day or like a normal breakfast for you before a run?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I've been having 2 pieces of sourdough toast with a peanut butter and banana, just super super simple. Um, yeah, that's kind of all I've really found sits really well for me. Sometimes it's one piece. Something's better than nothing.
Yeah, yeah, nice. So,
What
what?
about you?
Usually I do smoothies. Yeah, smoothies are my go-to breakfast. If it's
Nice.
if it's a important long run, I'm gonna do a light smoothie to be sure to eat while I'm running. But if I run less than an hour, I usually do fasting those days. But I double eat after.
Yeah, you must not underfuel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what would you have to say to someone that listening the podcast and want to run his first ultra, like 50K or whatever the distance is?
I think the most important thing when you want to do an ultra, if that's your goal, is to ask yourself why you want to do that. I think
Yeah,
a lot of people jump to the where, the when, the what race am I going to do. But more important is why you want to do it, because it's a huge undertaking. And I think
yeah,
we're starting to, the ultra distance is becoming really normalized, that it's not really, people are just like, oh, 50K, no problem. You'll need to remember what it was like when we started running, when 5Ks was a long way. So I think understanding your why, and then also sharing the journey. I think it's really, really important for yourself, to share it, to run with other people, to just have other people's perspective, because I feel like when you do it alone, you can get really caught up in just minor details, when you just need someone to say, hey, you got out of bed this morning. That's better than no run at all.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm totally in. Yeah, that's very great. Um, so do you build your own training plan or do you have a coach?
Yeah, so I'm coached by David Roach, who's an American coach. His coaching business is called Some Work All Play, or SWAP.
Okay.
And he looks after a lot of incredible athletes, from Hayden Hawks, Claire Gallagher. I'm very, very fortunate to have his guidance.
Nice. when you start trail running, I guess you didn't have a crazy plan and a coach.
Yeah, correct. When I started running, I was just doing whatever my dad did, and just,
Okay,
if I was tired, I stopped, and if I wanted to go long, I went long. But I started when I was 14. When I was 16, I had my first coach, and
okay.
he was very numbers oriented. He was all about heart rate and pace, and I had to hit all these goals, and I found it a little too regimented. I'm more free spirit.
Yeah.
So David kind of knows how I am, and he writes my programs with a lot of flexibility.
That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, I think we need flexibility, because back in the days when I have the coach, sometimes I was not listening enough my body. So I think it's a part of it. Should
Yeah,
be
I think the
important too.
important thing is to have honesty. You need to have a coach that you can say, I didn't sleep well last night, or I'm having, family or job issues, because those stress impacts your training, and you're
Yeah.
never going to perform well if you're not balanced across everything.
Yeah, correct. So what would you be your best advice for running a full night in an ultra?
A full night. I I think it's something that still scares me. It's one of those things that I don't train at all at the nighttime. I'm
Okay.
very lucky that I can fit my training into daytime.
Okay.
And so I think, it's important that you have a good head torch, and that you do practice it if you think you're going to be doing that in a race.
Yeah.
But also, it is probably some of the most magical moments of running I've had have been at night. There's something about, all you have is that little bit of light that your head torch is shining on, and everything else doesn't matter. And I think
Yeah.
it's it really makes you very present. And I think that that's such a beautiful thing. So you can have nerves about it for sure, but just, back yourself into the night and say, like, this is going to be super fun. And who does this?
Yeah. Yeah, we have to be crazy to do it. But um, do you have food? Do you have a harder time to digest food when you run on nights on races?
My tummy has been on and off. I feel like it has a lot to do with the climate. If it's really
Okay.
hot, like at Western states,
Yeah.
I barely could take food in. But when it's kind of cooler conditions, I seem to be okay. I kind of have like my ideal nutrition plan, and then I have like plan B, C, D, E, F, G, of, if things go really bad, I fall to Coca-Cola and watermelon, which is not a lot of calories, but it's something.
Yeah.
But usually I want to be, gel every 20 minutes, but it never works out.
But have you ever done long races on all gels?
I've done up to 100 kilometers on gels.
Wow.
Anything after, yeah, but not that many, maybe like 1 or 2 an hour.
Okay.
But yeah, but when you're running for, 10 hours, that's 20 gels. That's not great for your stomach.
Yeah. Of course. Nice. So before you start training for your first Ironman this year, uh, have you done cross training before? Or you were just trail running?
Mainly I've always just ran. I kind of love its convenience that you can do it anywhere, anytime. You don't need a whole lot of gear, which
Yeah.
I'm learning with Ironman. It's like a pain in the butt to use your bike and to have the tires blown up and the helmet and the cleats and everything. But yeah, I've always kind of swam a little bit, and I just love trying new things. So I do cross training, but nothing like this.
Okay, cool. So you told me before the interview what bring you into your first Ironman this year. It's what we're living now this year, the pandemic, and I don't want to talk too much about this. So how you feel about doing your first Ironman this year?
Yeah, I feel very nervous and excited, kind of how I used to feel when I was signing up for my first, trail run. It kind of feels like I'm back to being a student again, and I have so much to learn. It's really, really challenging at the moment because the pools are closed in Australia because of COVID.
Yeah,
And we have restrictions on how long we can train, or we can go outside and exercise for, and how far we can go. So I can't spend as much time on like the bike as I would like, and I can't run as much as I'd like. So I'm very challenged in terms of being able to fit it all in at the moment. But I feel like in anything, I know I can do it. The time of doing the exercise, the 3 different disciplines doesn't scare me. I just need to be in a good headspace of being like, it's not going to be super comfy on the bike because you're not going to be as used to it as you thought you were going to be.
nice. So have you ever done triathlon before, or Ironman is gonna be your first one?
No, it's going to be my first. I have a habit of, I'm a 0 or hero type thing, 0 or
Yeah.
100. So yeah, why not jump in the deep end?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm like this too. I'm very intense too.
Yeah.
So, how many times you ran 100-miler distance?
So I've done the Western States twice,
Yeah.
Western States 100 miler, and I believe that's it, just those two. And then I've done this year, I ran 250 kilometers. So I kind of went through the
Wow.
100-mile distance there as well.
Wow. It was an organized race.
No, it was kind of in between lockdowns. It was just a passion project that I've always wanted to do, and it just happened to be in the right moment. And yeah, we ran for 50 hours nonstop.
Wow. So you had a crew for doing this?
So I had 2 boys that they filmed and photographed it because we're making a movie.
Okay.
So I saw them every 8 hours, but I was alone the whole time running.
Nice. So this movie is out at the moment?
No, it should be out in September. Super
Ah,
soon.
okay. Sounds great. So you were very young the first time you ran the Wiser, the Western State, and you finished third. That's very nice. So it was in 2018, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. I was 22 years old.
Okay. So did it was your more impressing race did you do?
Yeah, I would say it was the first race where I wanted to be competitive from the beginning. I'm usually someone who sits back and
Yeah.
kind of eases into the whole thing. And for it to be my first 100-miler, it was, I think a lot of people were not expecting me to be leading.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect me to be leading, but yeah, it was for the field that I was up against. I think that, yeah, it's probably my proudest race finish that I've done.
Yeah, and it's a very competitive race. So doing a top 3 at the Western State is it's very big in the sport. So congrats.
Thank you.
So do you have a special objective for your first Ironman, or just completing it? Or
Oh, I just want to do it. Like I said to you before this podcast started, it's for me because there was not so many races that inspired me in Australia. And I was meant to be competing around the world, but I can't travel. I just wanted to challenge myself. I'm not committing myself to Ironman as an athlete. I just kind of want to do it, tick the box, have fun. And, just like when I did my first 100K, I want to finish and go, yeah, I want to do that again. I have room for improvement. I don't want to finish and be like, I'm so done. I never want to see a bike or a wetsuit ever again.
Okay, nice. So I have two questions from people are following me to ending up. One question is very funny. Are you down with this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's begin with the other one. So if you're become very good in Ironman, what would you choose after? Would you continue to do triathlon or trail running?
Oh, for sure, I will not leave trail running. Like I said, I'm a simple person, and I love the running simplicity, and I love that it's accessible for everyone. And I'm so ingrained in the community here, and so close to all the people. I think for Ironman, I already see that it's a lot of commitment, and I kind of, when you're juggling all those different aspects, I find it a little overwhelming. So I know it's not the sport for me, but I think it's a great thing to do for this moment for me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I hear you. So ready for the funny question?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's a friend I interviewed on my 6th episode, and she's a huge fan of you. And she said, would you marry GF because I want to know you and run with you more?
What a proposal.
I was laughing so hard when I read this.
I can't wait to go for a run with her. She sounds great.
Yes, in fact, the races I'm gonna do in October, she won this race in 2018. So.
Oh, she's strong.
Yeah. I think she ran 3 times this races, this 100 milers. So.
That's awesome.
So thank you so much for this time. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So if we want to follow you, we can look on your Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. The Instagram is the best place. And if you have any questions, you can always message me there. And yeah, that's kind of it, really. That's the best place to follow me.
Okay, cool. And I saw your cooking book, so I might buy it. It looks very nice.
Make you eat some more plant-based.
Okay, nice. So good luck with your first Ironman. And
you with your first 100 miles. Woo!
Yeah, thank you.